Hi, ladies. My name's Sarah Chapman. Welcome to this Ladies Girls Night Out. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the female sexual response cycle. You're probably thinking, well, Sarah, what the heck did you say? Well, it's something that I had to learn, and I have definitely grown a lot from learning this education, and I hope you will too as we start off this girls' night. Have you ever really wondered what exactly happens to your body during sexual activity? Well, I will be sharing with you 5 different phases of this female sexual response cycle. Now, when I've gone to trainings before with women, a lot of them have never actually heard that before. And if you haven't, it's okay. Don't worry. Probably 80% of the women that I've been in front of are like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm here to share with you what those are. I'm going to make this quick, informative, and hopefully you could be able to share this with your loved one because they need to know how you work. As a female, um, there's so many things going on all the time in our brains all the time. And to get ourselves prepped and ready for a sexual experience, it needs to take some time to marinate. Right? Our bodies are not designed to be thrown on a bed and penetrated. Sorry, it's just what it is. So our body needs to go through these phases. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in. We're going to talk about them. I do have another resource on my website that gives you more information, detailed information about these steps. There's other books out there. There's all kinds of therapists and sex educators that have their own kind of take on what this is. Some add some resolution and climax and stuff. I don't use those words necessarily, one that I teach, but you can make do with whatever. And anyway, I just have found that this particular one just resonates more with women. So anyway, so let's get started. First one being is your warm up phase. All right. As women, we have so much on our plate all the time, whether it be work, family, trying to just juggle life every day. And some of the things that we do during the day, like it just takes a toll on us sometimes, right? If you've ever heard of the 5 love languages, there are 5 different ways we give and receive love. And as women, it's something that we really thrive on when our partner can really connect with us. We love emotional connection, don't we? Yeah. Sometimes we need to know that they are listening to us, that they're hearing us before we can be intimate with them, right? Now, there's 5 different ways we give and receive love, whether that be words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, physical touch, and acts of service, all right? Now, in this warm up phase, it's important for you to understand that you also should be able to do this for them as well. But letting them know, like for example, in my home, mine's acts of service, my husband's is physical touch. All right. So, um, warm up is, it's not necessarily, this part of the phase is not like guaranteeing that you are going to have sex with them, but it's just something to always just kind of be in a warm up phase with each other, just to kind of keep the spark alive and things like that, right? And so, if my husband is washing the dishes or helping out with the kids, like he's getting a little star in his chart, right? Once again, that doesn't guarantee sex that night, but it's something that is drawing me a little closer to him. And then for me, his is physical touch. And so it's something that I've had to learn to like actually ask him, like, what do you appreciate? You know, what kind of physical touch would you like me to do for you, right? Kind of things. Um, and so just understanding what your love language is and what your partner's love language is huge. So there's a free test you can take on the 5lovelanguages.com and just go find out what it is. Have a good conversation about it. Go have a date night. Figure out what that is. Okay. Another part of this warm up phase is being able to brain dump. That's kind of like what I like to call it. All right. So, once again, like we as women have so much in our head and so much on our plate that we're carrying and juggling all these balls all the time. And sometimes we just need to like word vomit sometimes. I know men don't love that, but at the same time, like that's how we're really truly like trying to emotionally connect with them in that way. And so being able to get out what's on your brain is huge because I am sure that when you've been intimate, you're thinking about taking out the trash or changing the laundry or something like that. Yeah. So when you can alleviate some of those things and ask for help in those things during this aspect is crucial. Okay. Um, and then it's just, yeah, those are just key things. So brain dumping and understanding your love language in this phase is very important. Okay. So let's move on to number two. Two is your foreplay arousal phase. All right. So for the longest time, for years, like for 16 years I was married, I thought that my brain had to say, Sarah, go have sex, and that it would go. All right. But it actually, I want you to think of it as your body needs to create emotion to create that movement, right? So that's where foreplay and arousal comes into play, because our body needs to move, and you need to feel those sensations and feel like that self-love for yourself. Now I'll be sharing some products with you later that help in each of these different phases, but especially in this one, because as women, we love fragrance and we love smell and everything else, but when you can actually tap into that sensual side of yourself, to feel that, like I said, movement with your body, it creates arousal, right? So when our body is in a state of arousal, our labia, yeah, there's my little clitoris and my labia, they begin to swell because all this blood is pumping into that area, because we're feeling those sensations throughout our body when we're, touching, and or even shaving, or like just those like simple little things where our partner is doing something to arouse our body in that way. Okay, so that was huge for me to understand that my body needs to create that movement before my brain can connect, which leads me to number three, which is our desire phase. Okay, as women, there's so many things that can affect our libido. You guys, you got lack of sleep, you got prescriptions, we've got kids, we've got just stress of life. Like, there's so many things. We could add this long list of things. And when our brain can't connect to our clitoris in that way, then it's going to suppress and it's going to stop that arousal from even happening. For years, that's what I did. I didn't even know I was doing it, right? Because I would stop. Like, I'd say to my brain, oh, I'm feeling those sensations, stop, right? But that's not what we want it to do, right? And so when we're feeling those arousal, when our body's getting that aroused feeling, then we can send that message, being like, okay, Sarah, I'm feeling something. Where do I want to take this, right? And so, like I said, all those factors of like those ways that we feel like our body is like saying, I don't want this right now, whether it be the kids in the background or so much on your plate or whatever, really actually comes down to three things that can affect our desire or our libido. One being a healthy attitude towards sex. For years, for 16 years of my marriage, and as a teenager and everything, like I was totally like sex was bad, sex was like this naughty word, it was gross and it was dirty, right? And so I had to reframe my whole belief system around what that word sex meant. Okay, so I did not have a healthy attitude towards sex. Number two is an inability to become aroused. So it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier. It's like I would send a message to my brain unconsciously to say, shh, stop. And I would suppress that feeling, and I'd shut it off, right? And so I wouldn't get my body into that full state of arousal. All right. Third is proper sexual functioning. I think about that for a second. What was it? I'm clearly not a doctor, all right? But there's definitely some things, if you feel that you do have a healthy attitude towards sex, and then you feel that you can get your body in a state of arousal, but there's still something that's kind of not like getting you there. Like there could be something internally that's happening that you need to actually get a professional opinion, a professional doctor to take a look at, because there could be a lot of trauma involved. There could be scar tissue that you don't even know that's happening inside there. to actually get moisture and to feel that your body's in that state of arousal. Okay, so those are the three things that affect our desire. And there's all those things that we think about out there, and they're valid, but really it really does come down to those three things. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. Okay, so that's our third step. Number 4 is actually, that's the orgasm phase. Okay, so now our brain's like, okay, like, or our body's feeling the arousal. Our brain's now saying, okay, Sarah, I think I'm ready to go. Like, we can do this. Let's do this. And then that's where we feel that we can get our body into um, um, to be able to have an experience an orgasm. Okay, there's 5 different types of orgasms that you can have as women, and you can have multiple orgasms as well. Okay, now there might be some of you here that are like, Sarah, I've actually never felt one before. Well, I want you to think about those times that maybe if there's been performance anxiety, where you felt the stress, where the partner's pressuring you. There's so many things that can factor that. But when you know how your body moves from warm up to foreplay, arousal, desire, and then orgasm, when you properly move through those steps, hopefully, right, you can experience this. I always also recommend in this part of the phase is I share with women to focus on your clitoris the entire time you're having sex. Because that, for some reason, your body gets into this meditative state. And when you do that, when you allow yourself to do that, you really just feel your labia, right? There's already swelling, right? But when you can focus on the clitoris just being rubbed right over and over and just like meditated like on that clitoris, it's pretty powerful. Okay, so there's 5 different types of orgasms you can have. First one being through clitoral stimulation. All right, up to now the new statistic is 95% of women. That's something that we need. Okay, we need to feel that clitoral stimulation. You can feel it just on the external part of your body. You can even have a clitoral orgasm with your clothes on, even, which is pretty powerful. Okay, now the second one is through vaginal intercourse, right? And that's out there in society. That's what you see on TV and everything. Like, that's when women are having these orgasms, like inside. And there might be a lot of you out there who are like, I know that has not happened for me. And then you might be thinking, I'm broken. Well, you're not broken, actually, because a lot of women don't feel that vaginal orgasm, right? And so obviously vaginal orgasm is when here's your the penis goes inside, right? And it's just doing that motion here. And through your vaginal wall and vaginal lining is where you're feeling that pulsation happening inside, kind of like a wave-like kind of motion, right? Not a lot of women feel that, and that's okay. You're not broken, okay? Your third one is your through nipple stimulation. So if you had enough nipple stimulation where they're playing with your nipples or whatever else, but playing with your nipples and like just creating that stimulation there, you can actually feel a clitoral orgasm, okay? But what's happening is it's being stimulated here, but your clitoris is not even being touched at all, and you can still feel it. So that's where the nipple orgasm comes into play, okay? It's not like you're going to look down and see your nipples pulsating. It's not that, right? It's down on your clitoris. You're going to feel that, okay? That was 3, right? Number 4 is G-spot. G-spot is, it's a very interesting little scavenger hunt. If you've never found your G-spot before, it's something that's very powerful. You will know when you have a G-spot orgasm, okay? You will, I promise. And so this G-spot is kind of like an almond-shaped rib-like substance that can be found just right below your belly button. Actually, it's next to your urethra. So if you ever feel that sensation that you have to pee during sex, you'll go empty your bladder, make sure you're good, and come back, and he goes in for penetration again, and you feel that sensation again, he's hit your G-spot, okay? If you've never actually found it, a good way to find that is he can take 2 fingers. Here's your vaginal canal here. He goes up inside, and he does a come here motion up inside there, right? That is a helpful tool to use, those two fingers and just doing a come here motion, okay? And it's gonna feel like, yeah, like I said, you feel like you're gonna have to pee, okay? And for a lot of women, being able to let go and just kind of relax your body, for some reason, it could take up to 45 minutes for some people. But allow yourself to just relax and just receive and just see what happens. Now, depending on how much natural moisture you have inside, your G-spot can actually squirt out natural moisture. So if you've ever heard the term squirting before, that's where that comes from, okay? It's not pee, it's fine, it's just your natural moisture that's been stimulated enough, okay? So that's your G-spot. Number 5 is anal, all right? So a lot of women might not feel a lot of sensation on the front side, and so they choose to go to the back side to be able to feel that sensation, because this is another anatomy thing that I need to mention. Here we got your vulva on the outside, your labia majora minora, your clitoris here. Your clitoris actually extends 6 inches inside of your body and has legs kind of like a wishbone, okay? So if you're not getting like through penetration here, you can go back behind, and because your clitoris is 6 inches, the penis can actually hit from the backside and allow you to feel an orgasm through the backside. You just be sure to just use a lot of lubrication so that you can actually experience, like, to feel comfortable, right? But also just to be able to help you to relax a little bit. I always suggest having clitoral, vaginal, or nipple orgasm first before you experience the G-spot or anal, because what happens is your body is in that state of relaxation, right? And you're just kind of already chill and everything else to be able to receive those last 2 options, okay? So that's your orgasm phase. And like I said, you can have multiple orgasms, okay? So you've had your orgasm, life is good, you feel good, you just had this great experience connecting with your partner. You're not done yet. This next part, number 5, afterglow phase, was a game changer for my marriage. You guys, and it's simple practice. I mean, we don't do it every single time, but oh my gosh, talk about communication. So basically, what it is you're just talking to each other after sex, okay? Obviously, when you're in the act of sex, you need to communicate if it feels good or it doesn't, but you're not having like conversations throughout the whole thing, right? You're really like concentrating on receiving pleasure. That's what happens for you as women. Concentrate on receiving pleasure, concentrate on your clitoris the entire time, okay? This is the time to be selfish, okay? It's receive, receive, receive. And I think that was a huge, powerful thing for me to finally make that switch, because I was always like, Sarah, just give to him, like, he just wants your body, and I just laid there like a tool for him to use, okay? That's not what you're there for, girls. You're not there for that, okay? So yes, your afterglow is truly a time to connect. And you're getting an emotional connection. I talked about emotional connection at the beginning with warm-up. You're getting emotional connection at the end with afterglow, okay? Ladies, like, how cool is that? Because we want to create conversations around sex, and if you're not already having these conversations with your partner, this is a great time to start. And it can be a simple question like how did you feel during that? Like, was there something that you'd like for me to try next time? Or how can we like change things up, and what position do you like? And like, would you be open to this, and this? Like, I don't know, I'm not gonna ask the question for you guys, but you can figure it out, right? Just to be able to create that communication. We do have conversation cards called date night cards, which are awesome to use in this part. And just to, because sometimes I can't really like think of the questions when after the act is done. Like, yes, I want to relax and stuff, and And this is for sure like really great for the guy, because usually he just rolls over and falls asleep, right? Because he's just like, right? That's not what we want. We want to connect with them. We want to talk about um, our sex life. We want to talk about how we can connect better, and communicate our fantasies, communicate our wants. My husband would always ask me, Sarah, what is it that you want? Like for the first 16 years I was married, I was like, I don't know what I want. I've never allowed myself to really look at my wants, right? Because I always thought it was just for him. But now that I know what feels good and what like brings us closer, I can communicate those things to him. Okay. Now, you guys, there's so much more I can talk to you about with this. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do have my book called Underneath It All You're Naked. I talk in depth about that in there. I talk about how my marriage has shifted and changed. Literally did a 360. Like, I mean, my world has changed because I know this concept and I know these 5 phases and I know how to walk myself through this. My husband knows how to walk myself through this, and he knows what things that help me, right? To be present with him in the moment, because that's what they want. You guys, that's what they want. They want to please you. That's like their biggest thing. Okay, they want you to be happy. They want you to feel that pleasure. They want you to receive. So will you receive this? Will you? Well, I look forward to continuing on our ladies' night out. So please reach out to me if you have any questions about this process and what you could do to really further like your connection with your partners.